What's up, YouTube? Handlebar Mike here with a VR. Max over at Defiant Pipes, he's asked us all to display our crazy, basically. Max has asked us to talk about conspiracy theories that we completely believe in. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to make this short. I've made this video 4, 5, 6 times now at this point. I keep trying to shorten it down. I don't want to go as long as I've been going. So I'm going to try to condense this as much as possible. I am smoking one of my ROP cherry wood pipes with some Galleth and Hogarth's Curly Cut Deluxe, which is basically a pre-cut rope. I am going to have a impressions and review on this coming up on my channel, which is more pipe-related stuff, which is good. But for today, let's put our tinfoil hats on and let's talk about conspiracy theories. Now, I have been known to wind up on the dark side of YouTube watching crazy conspiracy videos because I find them very entertaining. I don't believe in a lot of the shit, you know. Lizard people, as much as I think that would be awesome if there was lizard people, because I could pretend like I'm in V. I could have Robert Englund, could be my buddy in like the TV show V, and I don't know if I'm dating myself for that. If you don't know what the hell V is, go look it up. Some of the best work that Robert Englund did. So, I don't believe in lizard people. Do I believe in aliens? Absolutely. I think it is very pompous and crazy for us to think that we are the only living species in the entire goddamn universe. The universe is massive. To think that we are the only living species. Have they visited us? I don't know about that. All right? But I believe there's other life forms out there. Absolutely. What other crazy conspiracy theories? I don't know. Trying to think of some of the other ones. But it is what it is. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about the two that I want to talk about that I truly believe in. The first one is about pharmaceutical companies. I believe the pharmaceutical companies have no interest in curing disease. It makes no sense for them to cure disease. Pharmaceutical companies are not there for the betterment of human beings, for the betterment of our species. They're there at this point to generate massive, massive profits. That is what a pharmaceutical company is all about, is money, 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 plain and simple. So there's no point in them curing a disease. They cure a disease, and that's a one and done. Instead, their main focus is maintaining your life with that disease. So every month you got to go back to your pharmacy and buy another bottle of pills that they inflate the cost on so you can maintain your life with that disease. There's no point in them curing the disease. There's no profit in that. So that's one of the first things that I will say as far as conspiracy theories go. Pharmaceutical companies do not want to cure disease. They want you to live with disease and just take their pills, that sort of thing, because all they care about is profit. They don't necessarily care about the well-being of the human species whatsoever. Second, let's talk about the government real quick. I do not believe that 9/11, that's another, I guess, big conspiracy theory. I do not believe 9/11 was an inside job. I do believe it was horribly mismanaged, and, you know, obviously, rear vision or hindsight is 20/20. We could have, I think, reduced the amount of lives that were lost in 9/11, but I do not think it was necessarily an inside job. And yes, I've seen all the documentaries, and yes, I've seen Building 7, and look at the kink on Building 7. I've seen it in slow-mo and everything else. It is what it is. So it's not that. But I do believe that our government is completely run by corporations. And I think there's plenty of evidence to show this, and I think, you know, that's why I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or not, but I think that's what makes it a conspiracy theory, is because I fully believe it. I think there's enough evidence to show this, but nobody believes it, or nobody, you know, ultimately there's a lot of folks that don't believe it. But I believe that our government is completely run and controlled, for the most part, by corporations and rich folk, plain and simple. And we see that because the cost of elections have gone up so much that all politicians, not all of them, but the majority of politicians, their main focus is just fundraising. It's all about needing money, getting money to make sure that they can campaign in the next cycle and keep their seat of power, plain and simple. They don't have time to actually create legislation because all they're doing is fundraising. And what that has done is created organizations like ALEC. ALEC is a great example of this. It's not the only one, but it's one of the bigger ones and one of the more public ones, I think, that you can find a lot of information on. And what ALEC has done is said, listen, your job is tough. I understand. You need to be on the phone fundraising. You need to make sure that you have money coming in so next election cycle you can stay in power. So what we've done for you is we've created some options for legislation that you can present and submit under your own name. Matter of fact, we've made it real easy. All you got to do is put your name there and put the state right there, and psh, there you go. Now you have legislation that you can enter in and hopefully get passed. Well, the problem is groups like ALEC are funded by corporations. That's where their money comes from. They're funded by corporations, large money hungry profit corporations. A great example of this is, I think we can see again with ALEC, their stance on legislation for privatizing our prison system. Now, we have a huge problem in this country when it comes to incarcerating people. We love, for the home of the free, we lock a lot of freaking people up for crazy ass things. And a lot of this, I think, started with the war on drugs is a huge thing, and that I don't know if you conspiracy theory in and of itself, but in the 60s, I think all of a sudden the country started experiencing a little bit too much democracy. We had groups that were mobilizing and organizing and speaking out instead of just being quiet and being the shitty peons that the government wants us all to be. And the way that the government squashed that kind of sentiment was for incarcerating people, locking people up. Let's demonize the hippies, the anti-war folk, by criminalizing marijuana. Let's criminalize, or let's demonize folks of color that want civil rights and everything. Let's criminalize them and criminalize heroin and crack because of that. So we created this, or the government created this war on drugs to basically squash the democracy that was rising in these groups because they were organizing and everything else. Let's just lock these people up. It'll shut everybody up because you know what? We ain't gonna want to organize and march if we're locking people up. And we see that there's a huge amount of people incarcerated in this country. The statistics are, as far as black men go, it's like 1 out of every 3 black men will spend some kind of time incarcerated, which is unbelievable. Well, because of that, there's a cost involved with that. So let's go to the private sectors, and we can have companies like CCA that create or build prisons, maintain prisons, and service prisons, and they're going to privatize that system. So once you have private money in that now, again, it's all about continuing to lock people up, keeping those privatized jails full or over full, because that's how they get money. Well, if we look at ALEC, we can see that CCA was a huge contributor to this ALEC group, and a lot of the legislation that they pushed was for the privatizing of these prisons. Well, that did come to light eventually, and CCA actually pulled out, no longer gave money to ALEC. Well, all of a sudden, ALEC has changed its tune. They no longer want privatized prisons. Matter of fact, they don't want to break up families anymore. Instead, for non-violent crimes, instead of putting you in a jail cell, we just want to put a little GPS monitor on you. We think that we'll be able to keep families together. We'll be able to keep people in their communities and everything else. They're non-violent criminals. There's no need to put them in a cage. Well, this new legislation that they're pushing, if you look, CCA no longer gives them money, but guess who does? Well, the company that makes those damn GPS units, the company that services and monitors those damn GPS units. So it's all tied to the money. So when you have a system where the politicians are so focused and so busy raising money so they can keep the status quo of elections better and better and better, and they're not focused on creating actual legislation. You have these companies that are able to come in that are funded, or these groups that are able to come in that are funded completely by private profiteering industry, and create legislation that they want these politicians to push. They sign their name on it. They say, there, boom, look, I'm doing my job. It's a horrible system. I would love to see money taken out of elections. I would love to see everybody being on a level playing field with government money. Everybody gets a certain allotment of money from our taxes to run for election. And that's it, plain and simple. This way they can focus on doing their damn job instead of focus on milking people for money and getting, having these huge banks of money for election purposes. Now, I think I'm done with this at this point. So those are my two crazy conspiracy theories there, Max. Thank you for allowing me to showcase my crazy to the YTPC. Hopefully you guys aren't offended by anything I said. If you are, feel free to leave comments. We can have a conversation. I'm all about conversation. That's fine. Don't forget, pack a bowl, light it up, wear a tinfoil hat, relax, enjoy. I'll see you guys online next time.